Typically, we think of triggers as something bad because it makes us behave in a way that is not in alignment with our true authentic self. And commonly, trigger reaction can be very negative and unpleasant. But triggers can actually be really beneficial for our inner work journey. There's two main ways triggers can be beneficial for our inner work journey. The first way is when the trigger happens to you. Very commonly, when we get triggered, we get lost in them and we don't even know that we're really triggered. We don't realize at the moment that we are taken over by the ego. We get pulled into that moment, whether it's anger, jealousy, sadness, whatever the negative emotion is, and we get stuck in that space. Because trigger is an unconscious behavior that is activating the ego, when we get triggered, we know that there's something going on beneath it. Through inner work practice, you'll be able to catch triggers and recognize that you're being triggered. Once we could recognize that we're triggered, instead of getting lost in that emotion, take a step back, pause, and say, hey, I'm triggered. So it's a sign for me to go deeper to see what's causing this trigger. There's something more to the story. There's something going on within me that I need to go in deeper and look at. So that's one way triggers can be beneficial. The other is when other people are triggered. Once you start doing your inner work and start understanding triggers, and you do your work and recognize your triggers and learn to look into them and understand them, most humans react similarly to similar things. So you'll start to see a pattern in what some triggers could mean. It helps you understand the way they deal with their trigger, what you can maybe expect. It's not a bad thing that people get triggered. We all get triggered. I mean, that's very, very normal reaction. When you see people get triggered, how they react, if they even recognize their trigger, things like that can help you understand what you may be able to expect in the friendship or relationship. It's very common that people say one thing but behave another way. So I feel that triggers on other people are a great way to identify what kind of person they may be. How I utilize triggers in others is that I usually use it as a way to gauge if I can feel safe with this person or how much I want to share. Depending on what they get triggered on and if they even recognize it or not, is a way for me to identify how much I could trust that person if I can feel safe. Again, triggers are not a bad thing. Almost everybody gets triggered. It's how they react or what they get triggered about. Here's an example how triggers and others have been beneficial for me. So let's say there's two friends. Now, one friend, when this person gets triggered, they can't recognize it. They're so unconscious, they get sucked into that moment. However, their trigger reaction is not something that where I feel unsafe or it is putting me in danger or harming me or hurting me. So even though this person gets triggered, they're unconscious, it's an ego activating, they don't even recognize it, but the way they express their trigger is not in any way where it harms me, puts me at risk, hurts me, then I will identify this friend as I'm okay with this friend. I feel safe with this person, I could trust this person. So the other friend, this friend also gets triggered, but this friend actually can recognize some of their triggers and works on it, which is wonderful, right? However, when they get triggered and their ego acts out, they behave in a way where I either feel unsafe, I can't trust them, they say or do things that's hurtful to me, and they don't recognize what they've done. This person could be someone that's doing their inner work, trying to catch their triggers, trying to be conscious, trying to be mindful and compassionate, and they may be a super kind and nice person when they're not triggered. But when they get triggered, they're unconscious and the ego acts out. They're not realizing it and they do things that is hurtful to me or I feel unsafe. Unfortunately, this friend goes into the I don't trust box. Because they're nice, I don't unfriend them, but because I can't trust their trigger and their ego behaviors, I keep them at a distance. That's just an example of how I've used triggers and how I found it to be beneficial. It's not a bad thing because we all get triggered. It's just part of being human. So instead of looking at it as something, oh, it's so bad, it's so negative, is to just use it as a sign to either be better, to improve your life, to improve your friendships. It's a tool.